Oh, that was simply, unequivocally, the best presentation I've seen. Um, it's just kind of a weird thing to say. I'm eighth generation Canadian, and profoundly proud to be Canadian. Um, but just for a moment there, I sort of wished I was American, so that I could march. Uh, Boy, that's I have great hopes for July 12th. I had hoped prior. I'd heard something of a march that wasn't necessarily. It was sort of tied to Ron Paul, because he'd brought up about the IRS and the problems, and that's kind of my thing. Our monetary system in Canada, when we went off the silver standard, is when we got into our debt problems. Um, so here in Canada, we have to get back to using our Bank of Canada instead of kind of like you guys with the Federal Reserve. But I think the will of the people must be shown. It must be shown, and oh boy, it does me proud. I I'm just I don't, I'm really at a loss. I felt I had to respond because I didn't think I could type anything that would convey what the video did for me. It really captured, I think, the essence of it all. You know, um, most rogue governments, whether you choose to believe in it's the Jesuits or the Masons or the Illuminati or whatever secret shadowy ooga booga thing out there, that's like controlling shit or whatever. They're able to strip freedoms from the people, usually in the same manner. They create a situation, they create a fear, they provide the solution to the problem, and while the people are in fear, they give them up. They give up the freedoms. And then once the situation has passed, the freedoms really don't come back. They come back sort of watered down, or the laws have been altered, or whatever the case may be. But I'm just thoroughly impressed. It's more important than ever that the march on July 12th, I think you will have millions there. That's what I think. I don't think it will just be young people, and I think it's a march for freedom. I think that, quite frankly, the liberal and conservative, the Democratic and the Republican paradigm is finally breaking away. It's finally just breaking away. And I don't know. I want to see how the pundits. Apart from anything else, I'm curious as much to see how your media, the world media, but in particular the American media, are going to try and spin this. If there's only a couple thousand of you, then you'll be wackos. The Ron Paul revolution, just a bunch of kids behind computers. That's it. And you'll be marginalized, and it won't be worth a fucking lick of beans. But millions, you know, of all stripes, young, old, you know. I had a conversation with a young man just the other day. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's 15 years old, and he's all about conservative values, and he's a fundamental Christian or evangelical Christian, and he's all about, you know, the right wing is the right way, and Democrats are hating America and all this sort of stupidity. And you know, we just have to get past that. We have to get past the short-term memory problem that plagues. You know, some today, when I talk to folks today, some will say, a lot of them will say, well, you know, war, down with Bush. Bush is a illegal war, and he's a hawk, and he's all about going for war. Well, it's true that George Bush is a chicken hawk. That is true. And it is true that the war in Iraq was illegal. That's true as well. After 9/11, going into Afghanistan was a good thing, because the Taliban hosed bin Laden, who was, you know, what we were told, the best lead for who committed the atrocity, and so Canada hopped right in there. But the purpose was never to occupy Afghanistan. It wasn't to build a nation. It certainly wasn't to reopen the friggin' opium poppy fields. You know, the purpose of intervention wasn't to get Afghanistan back on the map as a leading heroin producer. I don't remember hearing that in the ramp up towards war. Your country needs you. The world, quite frankly, needs you. Because what happens in the States does trickle down around the world. It just does. The single most important thing that Ron Paul means to me as a Canadian, well, there's two things. The first is the return to your Constitution, using your Constitution as a guidebook. And that bodes well for Canada, because Canada is not a nation-building country. We do have a peacekeeping force, and I understand the problems that many have with the UN. I'm not entirely tickled with them myself in a lot of cases. But Canadians should look for what's best for Canada first, make sure its people are taken care of first, and negotiate trade agreements and other such things with that basics, whether it's our natural resources, our power, our hydropower, and so forth. Whatever the case may be, it's what's best for Canada first and foremost. And America should be doing the same. It's why, quite frankly, Canada and America have been historically such a wonderful trading partner over the years, including Mexico into the tripod of it. All that does is introduces cheap labor. The exporting of our labor market, of the jobs. But I sort of slipped sideways, and I am sorry, because I tried to keep on point here. But I just wanted to say, as a Canadian, a proud Canadian, 8th generation Canadian, that I wholeheartedly support the Ron Paul Revolution. We have a movement here as well by the Honourable Connie Fogel with the Canadian Action Party, and you can check out the website there. I do wish Americans would have health care like us, but aside from that, way to go, peace.